Keir Starmer's education reforms, quote, are really not reforms at all. They're part of the same hack. If you go back over the last 13 years and you look at what the current government has achieved, admittedly it's not a great deal, but it is something. Reading is significantly better in primary schools now than it was, and this is partly because of Michael Gove pushing the phonics program. I remember being introduced to phonics a few years ago and thinking what an incredibly clever way of harnessing English. And it works. Phonics is very good. Nick Gibb, I think I would praise him less. He wanted a knowledge-rich curriculum. Well, I think he got that, maybe too much of that. The curriculum is simply there as an excuse to teach children tricks. Rather like a performing seal in a way, but those tricks are life skills. And it's the life skills, not the knowledge, which a child takes away from an education. And it's very easy for teachers, because that's all they are doing, is focusing on the knowledge together with the tricks. It's very easy for teachers to get confused as to which one is important. Knowing about the details of different battles in World War II, that's knowledge. The tricks, the skill, is about harnessing and questioning the material we're given. And today, even quite young children are now looking at original material, original documents, and questioning their value, putting one document against another and considering which one is more important. Evaluating sources. Now that's a skill which in my day I don't think we were even given access to until we got into the sixth form. Now children in primary school are doing this. This is tremendous. Now these are skills that have been introduced by the present government. Maybe not enough of them, maybe there are some more. And as I say, they are confused. The message is confused. The knowledge is mixed up with the skills. And in the end, the knowledge disappears. The knowledge is not what we need. What we need is the skill set. Actually, even with something like mathematics, there are some things I think where we should have a basic knowledge and retain it. Like, for example, times tables and the alphabet, of course. And a good working knowledge of the alphabet helps you for the rest of your life. A good working knowledge of the times tables helps you for the rest of your life. And when children are young, they can learn these things by rote and learn them well. I still remember a lot of the Latin I learnt when I was quite young. But I don't remember things I learnt later, because our mind becomes cluttered, I think. Now, Starmer wants more teachers. Great. It's a recruitment drive, and that's all very good. And then after that, it all gets rather confusing. You see, how do you retain teachers? You retain teachers because you give teachers and schools control over what they're doing. You give them a sense of their own value. And that is something which organizations like Ofsted have undermined. And the new breed of head teacher has in many ways undermined the autonomy and the skill of the classroom teacher. And the bureaucracy, which dominates schools, particularly in the secondary education, has undermined the teaching skills because there simply isn't time. There isn't time to prepare every single class if you've got to fill out all these forms and circulars, many of which are pointless. So what we need in the classroom are more teaching assistants who are going to take on a lot of these bureaucratic skills. Because at the moment, oddly, the teaching assistants are taking on the skills of the teacher. The wrong way round. As for Keir Starmer's other issues, a priority or a parity between academic education and vocational training, well, that's already been proposed and proposed and proposed, and it still hasn't sunk in. I think it's an incredibly good issue. We shouldn't necessarily be saying everybody needs a university education. Everybody doesn't. And somebody without a university education can still acquire those skills in different ways. You don't need a university education to be a great person. And in fact, we can think of one or two prime ministers who did not have a university education and were great prime ministers. Abolishing the tax breaks for private schools. Well, I think that's something private schools should have done themselves some time ago. As for having child poverty specialists in every class, you see, those three things, the parity between academic education and vocational training, the breakfast clubs, the private schools tax issue, the child poverty specialists, actually four things, isn't it? Those are all really about social engineering. They're not about education. And although I think schools have got a lot to say about social welfare, at government level, we should be trying to find a way to enhance the school experience, not only for children, but also for teachers. And I don't think Keir Starmer is offering anything more than the same same sort of business, the same basic conveyor belt education that assumes that our education, our schools and our universities are some sort of model Ford T factory. We put a child in at one end, they come out at the other with a degree or a vocational qualification. What we need to do is to engineer and realize the potential of every child, however it manifests. So the issue about speaking skills, what in fact Sir Keir Starmer means is building confidence. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Energizing and realizing potential wherever and however it manifests. That's not just speaking skills. What is he suggesting? Some sort of elocution? No, we should be proud of the different speaking forms that we have around the country. We should give children the opportunity to speak. Oracy, a terribly important thing. In fact, I teach it. I'm teaching it in about half an hour, oddly. And I'm teaching it to children who are from other countries. Oracy is about giving children the opportunity to debate and to construct an argument orally. But so often it comes down to their writing something out and then reading it out, which isn't really what we're looking at. So a lot of my work is in changing an assumption, changing what children have already been taught. And among other things, we need to break down the role of the teacher. The teacher is often seen as the source of information. No need when you've got the internet. The teacher is often seen as the judge, the ultimate marker. That may be necessary at certain points, but not continually. And the teacher should also be a mentor. And that, I think, is a primary job and something all teachers should aspire to do.